Hi, my name is Jordan Taylor. I drive for Corvette Racing in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. I've been working with SimCraft now for the past 6 or 7 years, driving their simulators. I've got one in my house, which has been hugely beneficial in my entire career. One thing that I've realized over the past few years is that every driver feels things differently. One, when they jump in a simulator, will want way more yaw or pitch. They're way more sensitive to it. So with SimCraft, you can have your own motion profile for every driver.
I'm James Michael Osborne. I'm a physician in orthopedic spine surgery. The nice thing about this system is its adaptability. I use the analogy of the cars. We're creating a stable single environment so that we're working through that process for them to learn and create the mental and the muscle memory. When you've got drivers that drive different cars on different tracks, the ability to customize that rehearses that memory and that response and will shorten the response.
My name is Sean Patrick Mcdonald. I am the co-founder and chief technology officer at SimCraft. So it's certainly not a one-size-fits-all type application. So because all humans are different, we've built extreme tunability into the software side and the motion control side of the system. When you are at Road Atlanta, our home track, and you are coming down to a hard braking zone to make a left-hand turn at 10A after a super long straightaway, whichever car you're driving is going to have so much pitch down because you're slamming on the brakes and so much surge forward to give you that momentum shift. But my perception of what that should feel like is going to be different than somebody else's. So the system is extremely tunable in real time so that it can be catered and tailored to what the individual person in the seat at that time wants to feel.
Hi, I'm Jason Hart. I'm a professional driver and driver coach, and use SimCraft products exclusively at home for my own simulation training. The proper dynamics of the sim make a big difference. So if you have improper dynamics, you're basically just getting inputs to your body that don't really correlate to what you're actually feeling on the real track. But when you can correlate the dynamics that you're feeling on the real track with your simulator, all of a sudden you can accomplish higher states of improvement in your sim driving that then relate directly to the real world.
I've used my SimCraft as a coaching platform for the past few years, having friends or guys that have been working with coaching-wise. It's a huge tool to coach a driver. I think it's great to have such a unique, situation where you're just working in a same kind of environment at all times. So when you go to a real-world test, you've got tire degradation, you've got ambient temperature, you've got track temperature, you've got rain, you've got cloud cover. So all these elements that can kind of cloud a lot of changes on track that can kind of influence a driver's development, and it's kind of hard to get a read on if they're developing, if they're learning, or if they're just adjusting to the conditions. I think when you're doing that same process on a simulator like a SimCraft, you've got the same environment every time, so you can say, all right, you need to work on this brake point, you need to work on this entry, this throttle pickup, and it's going to be the same every lap. And you're going to be able to see that development and that learning process way more clear than on a real racetrack.
Using a simulator in a coaching environment like we did today with a gentleman who's going to be racing in the Porsche Sprint Series with NOLA Sport this year, we're able to give real-time feedback to the driver and quickly improve his lap times and understanding at a track so that he can get to the track with full knowledge of the line he should be doing, some of the techniques that he needs to continue to develop that we found as weaknesses in his drive. And that's hugely beneficial considering he didn't have the schedule to be able to go to the test that was set up at Sebring. He missed that, so we're going to do the test on the sims, which we did today, and hopefully that drive will then excel once we get to the race weekend. It's a very positive environment.
I've driven all the stationary simulators, all the motion simulators, and for me, I've always chosen SimCraft. They've always been a great partner of mine, but it's been a great partner, but it's a great partner because it's such a great product, and it's something that I swear by. I tell all my friends about, I tell all my professional friends about that are in motorsports. That's why you see so many professional drivers and amateur drivers going to SimCraft, kind of develop their skills, develop their strengths even more. So it's just a perfect place to develop as a race car driver.
Number one, it's not simple. It's a complicated device that allows multiple degrees of freedom. And so you're getting all the stimulus. You go to Sebring and you're coming into turn one and you feel all the bumps that go along with it, and it's what your body is going to expect. So the nice thing about this is that you can feel that. When you have the two-dimensional, where you've got a flat screen here and your steering wheel, you have none of that feedback and none of that perception of braking zone, what the car is doing, or how to respond to that. And again, the closer it is to reality, the more your body is going to develop the appropriate reaction to the responses.
Folks that jump into Apex 6 or any of the SimCraft chassis, they tend to create a more granular level of drive. So some drivers that I've worked with over the years with different types of simulators, it's kind of a struggle for them to get up to speed on the sim. And with SimCraft, the way that they write the software and integrate all of the motion cues to replicate a real car, I see drivers acclimate very quickly to their chassis and get on with driving and driving improvements very quickly versus having to kind of learn the sim, stumble through like, I'm not sure, I have to get used to how this feels. Where the SimCraft's very intuitive, it just feels like their real race car.